Once you come out of the tower, we're ready to move into the third event, which is the Keiser Forcible Entry Machine. Okay, we're out of the tower, we're now moving into the third station. This is a simulation of forcible entry. There's a couple of differences from using an axe, and that is, if you're using an axe, you're going to be striking the surface to be chopped at about a 45 degree. That's the most effective way to use an axe, all right? This is a little bit different, because what we're going to do is we're going to strike with the flat surface of this shot mallet, the front plane of this beam. You'll also notice we have a telltale here. This is for fouls, because you're not allowed to use the shaft of the hammer to move the beam. Simply stated, it destroys hammers, all right? So ideally, what you want to do is to transfer maximum amount of force by striking the beam as square as you possibly can, all right? The transition or the biomechanics of this are such that the first couple of strokes are not going to be as effective as they will be later, and you'll see why. There's a couple of styles. Some guys like to have one foot forward, some like to have them side by side. But what you need to do is to avoid this compelling feeling that somehow if I move my feet, the beam is going to follow, because it doesn't work that way. What happens is you're going to drive the beam and your feet are going to follow the beam. The white tape that you see here is the safe position. We require that your hand be such that the tape is visible. This is to protect you from breaking your fingers if you have your hand here in the possible contact zone, all right? So, as I say, the hammer will be positioned as such. You pick up the hammer and you begin to strike the beam, all right? Now, you'll notice once I've got this moving that there's a distinct change in the sound. That's because I'm now getting essentially maximum contact between the face of the shot mallet and the beam. You'll also notice that I'm driving the beam well past the heel of my foot, and I'm not going to move my foot until basically it becomes an exaggerated move for me with the striking first at the face of the hammer, all right? Now, you'll notice that we have a triangle, and that's a countdown. The competitor is responsible for knowing when the evolution is completed. We'll have a judge station at the event to let you know, but you still are personally responsible for finishing the task, all right? Watch what happens when I get down here to the end. Small piece of white tape. You know that this is done when you basically can see daylight between the tape and the face of the beam. What this means is that the beam has in fact passed over the plane that delineates the edge of the sled. This is done. Okay, we're done. For every 2.5 centimeters that you're short, you're going to get a penalty of 2 seconds. So obviously this is a task that you want to make sure that you complete. Now, I mentioned earlier about the telltale. And this is a pressure sensitive tape. If I were to strike it with the handle, it will leave a mark. You get one free foul. After that, 5 seconds for every occurrence. So clearly you don't want to be